Did you ever wish you had a magic shield for your artwork? It's Spotlight Saturday and I'm shining the light on the superhero of sharp edges and crisp details, masking fluid. Welcome to Conversations with Canvas, where I review art books, art supplies and share art tips and painting demos, providing you your daily dose of art. I'll be using the Mormart masking fluid. Mormart, though the name is French, is actually an Australian brand, and I got this from Amazon for 499 Indian rupees. The link is in the description, and this one is around 120 ml. Now I'm sure all of us have heard a lot of bad stuff about masking fluid. It's difficult to use, it's difficult to remove, it can tear your paper, it spoils your fancy brushes. So before I share all the good stuff, let me talk about what you're not supposed to do. So the first tip is going to be buy smaller bottles. Even if a large bottle is on sale, go for the smaller one. Pebeo is available at 45 ml, so that can be a great choice because masking fluid has a low shelf life and it clumps pretty soon. So it's always better to opt for a smaller bottle. The next most important thing to remember is don't shake it. The shaking of the masking fluid will create air bubbles which causes uneven application. Also, it's going to encourage it to coagulate into that gloopy mess which we don't want. Instead, just gently swirl in with the back of a paintbrush. It's also important to know what tools you can use to apply the masking fluid. Just like you would never wear your best party clothes and sit to paint, in the same way, never use your fancy brushes to apply masking fluid. Instead, opt for an old brush, a skewer, an old toothbrush, and the best tool I would say is a silicone tip. This is great for applying masking fluids. I'm sure you've also heard the horror stories of how masking fluid tears the paper when you're removing it. Now, before you go all crazy masking your paper, it is best to give it a test run. I've tried a few papers that I had and I'll share the results. Now this one is the 180 GSM sketchbook and it's quite clear that the paper did tear when I removed the masking fluid. Its low GSM could be the cause of its failure. The hot press watercolor paper did better than the 180 GSM paper, but it did tear at certain places, so definitely a no-no for me. Now this one is a 300 GSM torsion watercolor paper from Scholar brand, and this did extremely well with the masking fluid and I liked the results. With this paper, there were mixed results. This is a 300 GSM watercolor paper again, and at certain places it worked really well and at others there was definitely a tear. I absolutely loved the results on the 360 GSM acrylic paper. That just goes on to say the higher the GSM, the masking fluid works like magic. So here we definitely have a winner. Now just for fun, I tried it on a colored canvas scrap and it worked great. This was definitely not expected and I'm really super happy with the results. A trial run will help you decide which paper you have to use for your masking fluid project. The 100% cotton watercolor paper and the mixed media papers also work really well with the masking fluid. Also, any paper having a higher GSM, that is more than 300 GSM, works fine. I'll be using the acrylic paper for this demo. While using masking fluid, it's important to remember to never leave it open. Instead, just pour out a small amount that you'll be using and close the lid tightly. Now, if you're using a paintbrush to apply masking fluid, soap can be your paintbrush's best friend. Just dip your brush into the liquid soap and then dip it into masking fluid. Apply the masking fluid, again rinse it with the liquid soap, and just keep on repeating this process every time you want to apply the masking fluid. You needn't wash your brush with water, just rinse it in soap, and that's it. The cleaning is going to be easy peasy and your brushes will thank you later for not turning them into an unusable solid stick. Working with this skewer is comparatively hassle-free. It's really helpful to apply very thin lines, so you could use it to paint the animal fur and even grass. Now you may feel that if you apply the masking fluid thick, it's going to be peeling off easily, but that's not true. Instead, less is more. So you apply it in thin layers, it will dry out faster and it will even peel off easily. Now if you want a cool, interesting texture, splattering the masking fluid with an old toothbrush gives amazing results. My favorite tool to apply the masking fluid has to be the silicone brush. They come in a variety of shapes and they do not get damaged by the masking fluid at all. I'm done applying the masking fluid and I'd just like to share, don't pour this liquid back into the bottle as it could spoil it. It's now time to check your patience. Let it dry completely before you apply paint over it, otherwise you're going to be messing it up. It's best to give it around 15 to 20 minutes. You can see that it has completely dried now and it feels kind of transparent and it's no more sticky or tacky. And now I'll be adding color over it. I'm using my Inktense blocks from Derwent. I love these set of colors. You can also use gouache, watercolors, acrylic and even acrylic inks. They'll all work fine over the masking fluid. I'd also like to share, I have an Instagram page by the same name, Conversations with Canvas, and there I share my paintings, do a lot of live sessions, and I host a lot of art challenges. So you can check that page out if art challenges interest you. I'll add the link in the description. You can see that the masking fluid is resisting the paints. This is proof that it had dried completely. Once you're done with the painting, it's time again to move away. Give it a break of 20 to 30 minutes, but don't be away for too long, because the longer it stays on the paper, the harder it is going to be to remove it. And I'm sure nobody wants to do that. Also, if you don't let the paint dry completely, this is what is going to happen. The paint just gets peeled off with the masking fluid, and this is what happened with my 300 GSM watercolor paper. The paint has completely dried, and now it's the real test. Did I follow all the steps correctly? You can remove it with your bare fingers, but I just like to use this nitrile glove or a latex glove. This just makes removing much easier, and I try to pull it inwards. As you can see, this just leaves a very nice crisp edge. You can also use an eraser, even that works great to remove it, but my favorite tool would definitely be the nitrile glove on my fingers, as sometimes bare fingers can leave smudge marks or oil marks onto the painting. The edges are crisp and clear. That means I followed all the steps perfectly, and if you do the same, you're going to get the same results. And there you have it, an in-depth look at masking fluid magic. Thanks for exploring this adventure with me. If you found these tips helpful, or if you have any suggestions for future reviews or demos, do drop in a comment below. I'd love to read your feedback. Until next time, take care, keep creating and exploring new artistic possibilities. Bye!